Hello everyone, we are Group 9, and before we start our presentation, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Reinhard Alexander Pandiangan,
My name is Alia Rahma Azura.
My name is Diransya Shaputri Arvin.
My name is Alicia Nicole Wijaya.
My name's Shravan Adhikar Hardy.
and in today's video, we will talk about the period of Islamic intellectual decline.
The period of intellectual decline refers to the decline of quality and influence of the Islamic education system that lasted from the 13th to the 18th century, marked by intellectual stagnation and the decline in quality of educational institutions such as madrasas and libraries. This condition is far from the situation of the peak of Islamic education, where the development of madrasas, libraries, and important scholars contributed to sharing knowledge. In the 9th century, where Baghdad was the center of the world, there was no conflict between the laboratory and the mosque in Bait al-Hikmah. They believed that by deciphering the laws of algebra or mapping the movement of the stars, they were uncovering the divine architecture of the Creator. This was the age of scholars like Al-Khwarizmi, the father of algebra, and Ibn al-Haytham, the pioneer of optics, where the Islamic law was the undisputed teacher of Europe.
By the 11th century, a subtle but deep transformation started to take shape inside the Grand Madrasas. A strong disagreement took place between the Mu'tazilites, who believed that human reasoning was the main way to understand the world, and the Ash'arites, who claimed that human logic was not strong enough to fully understand the divine. The important thinker, Al-Ghazali, who was a highly influential and one of the greatest Islamic jurists, theologian, and mystical thinker, came to represent this change. In his book, The Incoherence of the Philosopher, he pointed out the excessive dependence on Greek philosophy, known as falsafa. While he didn't mean to ban science and praise mathematics and logic as neutral tools, his great power caused education to shift more towards theology and religious law. The gates of independent reasoning, or known as ijtihad, gradually started to shut, being replaced by a culture of copying and following tradition known as taqlid.
However, the factors that caused the period of intellectual decline in Islamic education cannot be separated by the complex historical context, which includes several invasions and colonizations that created physical damage and destruction of many learning centers. The Mongol invasions was destroyed Baghdad in the year 1258 AD, which destroyed critical infrastructures, libraries such as the House of Wisdom, and killed uh, countless scholars, was one of the most significant turning points. The Tigris River was even said to be have run black with the ink of countless manuscripts from the House of Wisdom. Internal factors such as political conflicts and disputes of the mazhab also affected the decrease of quality in education and the spread of knowledge. Several other contemporary scholars have analyzed the decline in terms of political and economic factors. Current research has led to the conclusion that the available evidence is consistent with the hypothesis that an increase in the political power of these elites caused the observed decline in scientific output. The decline could be part of a larger trend where the non Western world fell behind the West in the Greek divergence. In 1206, Genghis Khan established the Mongol Empire, which during the 13th century conquered most of the Eurasian landmass, including China in the east and much of the old Islamic Caliphate, as well as Kievan Rus in the west. The destruction of Baghdad and the House of Wisdom by Hulagu Khan in 1258 has been seen by some as the end of Islamic Golden Age. However, while cultural influence used to radiate outward from Baghdad after the fall of Baghdad, Iran and Central Asia saw a cultural flourishing by benefiting from increased cross-cultural access to East Asia under Mongol rule.
The intellectual decline was caused by two main factors: the gradual decline in the unity amongst the vast Islamic lands, with the emergence of new European powers causing political instability and the subsequent instability of free thinking, which was influenced by said political instability. Such factors were seen to cause the extinction of the soul of ijtihad, and the soul of ijtihad, which was previously developing vividly across the Islamic lands, was increasingly seen as a source of fitna or social chaos. Now, to maintain order in a fractured political landscape, ruling parties often force judges or qadis and legal experts or muftis to adhere strictly to established opinions from the past. This so-called extinction caused the stance of experts in Islamic law in that period to merely follow the thoughts and ideas that already existed in their schools of focus. Now, the disintegration of the United Islamic State also caused a decline in the control of the development of Islamic law, with the emergence of people who may be deemed unworthy to conduct ijtihad being allowed to conduct so freely, causing mass confusion in society.
This period was seen to exhaust all efforts and ideas all over Islamic territories, halting the development of any progress on Islamic law and ijtihad. This caused chaos all over the Islamic legal world, with many ruling parties forcefully instructing muftis and qadis to follow existing opinions that had been originating from the past. The revival period in the mid to late 19th century was the period that marked the end of the decline of Islamic law, where the emergence of new movements by Islamic scholars took place, with the purpose of returning the pure Islamic teachings in Islamic law. This movement is called Salafiyah, return and look back to the Holy Quran and the Sunnah as the sources of Islamic law, removing any other outside factors such as politics and other affecting factors. As a result to this movement, several scholars were seen to desire to implement ijtihad again, reviving the world of religious and legal thoughts.
So this is our presentation about the decline of Islamic intellectual, the period of Islamic intellectual decline. Thank you very much for watching us, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.